What to be forgotten? Sora, are you alright? Yes, I'm fine. Are you going after Texas? When I saw her a minute ago, she told me to wait for her. Just hunker down until this mess blows over. It's total mayhem out there. If you don't want to lose her, you're gonna want to go after her. Lapland. I feel like it's the same with Lapland. For people like her, there's no point in trying to guess at what they're thinking. It's better to just accept what they say at face value. Only if every word they say is true can you start to figure if they're ultimately trying to weave truth into a lie. Why is that? Well, do you know who it is waiting in that room? Giovanna Rosati. If there's anyone who could actually get Texas to come back to Siracusa, it ain't me or Bernardo. And it sure as hell isn't Senora Cecilia. It's her, Giovanna. Selenia, you're a lot taller than you used to be. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's been years. By the way, I met some of your friends from Lungmen. Your name came up a few times, and from what they said, I can tell they're worried about you. I didn't think they'd come here. You're nothing like them at all. I never thought you'd make such lively, outgoing friends with that personality of yours. You don't count. If you really thought I was your friend, you wouldn't have gone so long without writing me. Alright, I know you must be hiding something else. What about you? Me? Nothing much. The liquidation came too suddenly. None of Columbia's families could sleep at night. I couldn't bear to see that any longer, so I stood up to take a charge of the situation. I opened up talks with Senora Cecilia, and we basically managed to sort things out. That's all there is to it. You make it sound so easy. Honestly, I should be complaining to you, but it's been too long since I've had anyone to confide in. So that's why you poured your heart and soul into your scripts. Could you tell? La Morte di Texas, my magnum opus. There were some details in it that only you'd know. I guess that means my memory's pretty good then. But I could never decide on what to do with Act 3. With your death. I guess there's no need to think about it anymore. Actually, becoming a playwright had another purpose. It's an open secret that Bernardo passed responsibility for the family to his son, while he went on to become the artistic director of his troupe, Compagnia del Alba. I wanted a chance to meet him, you know? There aren't many mafiosi who would do something like that. But the one who ended up shattering all expectations was him. I guess I should have expected it after all. From the man who built Family Bologna into what it is in just a single generation. By the looks of things, he really wants to challenge Senora Cecilia. You don't seem worried about it. All I can say is, if Bernardo considers you his trump card against the Rosatis, he's counting his foul beasts before they've hatched. You're right to come to me, Selenia. No matter what's going on between you and the Bolognes, I can help you. Join me. Two of us. Together, we'll make a difference in Siracusa. And not just because you're Salvador's granddaughter. Because I know you, Selenia. You can make a difference. We'll start over together, Selenia. Don't you want to know how I managed to survive? Giovanna, it was no fluke that I survived the liquidation. So you're here, standing on this stage, forming this play. How much do you know about what happened 7 years ago? 7 years ago, Texas's father, Giuseppe, murdered his own father, Salvatore, and declared that the Texases would no longer operate under Syracuse's control. That upset Signora Cecilia, who sent an elite force from the 12 families to Colombia to liquidate the Texas family. You were part of that, weren't you? Look who's such a smarty. At the time, Selena Texas was a star-studded name. She was Colombian, but even the Syracusans had nothing but wonderful things to say about her. This whole time. You've been trying to beat Texas? Beat her? No. Back when the Saluzos were looking after her, we were pretty competitive. Sometimes I'd win our little contests. Sometimes I'd lose. I did want to beat her, but that had nothing to do with what happened later. Then, you certainly do care deeply for her. Unfortunately, that has nothing to do with the plot of the story either. At least tell me what happened. I joined in the liquidation. I was fantasizing about how she would fight me to the death for the sake of her family. It got my heart pounding and my blood racing. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw that day. You're Hitman too, aren't you, Dan Brown? I am. Signorina Lavinia. 7 years ago, I was part of the team that carried out the liquidation of Family Texas. I arrived in the city ahead of time, took up a job at a car wash, and secretly observed the Texas's every move. Then, the team from Syracuse arrived, and a group of Colombians found me. Colombian mafiosi are pretty careless, real full of themselves. I could have dealt with them easy enough if it weren't for that one girl. I knew her. She was a Texas, but everyone said she was like a Syracusan. Selena. When I see you, I'm sometimes reminded of her. Was she as stupid as me? Rambling on about ideals was a murderer? No. Signorina Lavinia, I never meant to make fun of your ideals. It's just, I can barely believe it. Hearing you talk about that stuff. It's like listening to a real pretty fairy tale. To me, your ideals are so pretty. They're a kind of shortcut to get me a good night's sleep. That day, I was ready to fight for my life. I was convinced she would see right through me. But she let me walk right by her. Just like this. The audience has scattered in every direction. The battle between murderers has moved on. The theater has emptied out. As Lapland speaks, she takes light dance steps out onto the empty stage. The associates of Family Texas were already pretty much wiped out. But what about Selena? She was the only one missing. We couldn't let anyone live to talk about what happened, especially not the eldest daughter. So we all went to track her down. And that was when chaos broke out. The Texas mansion went up in flames, burning away the family's very existence. And the arsonist was standing there at the front door, right in front of me. She slowly turned and walked towards me. At that moment, I understood. She decided to stand by and watch the end of her own family. But who could blame her? Her father murdered her grandfather and didn't want to be an accomplice to that. Only she had the right to blame herself. But there's more to it than that. When I looked into her eyes, what I saw was exhaustion. Selenia's story is no secret to family Saluzzo, or to me. After all, the one who led the Saluzzo team at the time was none other than Signorina Lapland. She got kicked out because she went out on her own to hunt down Selenia. Her men got caught up in a counterattack, and a lot of them died. I won't run away, nor will I avert my eyes. For so long, she has told herself as much. But this time, her words fail her. Look at the bodies on the street, Lavinia. Listen to the shouts and cries in the distance. What can you do? The only advice I can give you is the same I gave to Selenia. Run. The farther the better. Even if your past is going to catch up to you, you at least enjoy a moment of peace. Otherwise, you will die. But I still don't want to. Her past kicked down her door. It might have been against her will at first, but she was forced out only to find nothing changed. Maybe she'll decide things she ran away from weren't actually all that bad. Her life in Lungmen might have been in a slightly extended vacation. And now, the most intimately connected with her family and her past is standing right in front of her. That's what you wanted to tell me, right? Yeah? If that's the case, I will respect her decision. Even though you're her best friend. Because I'm her best friend. Darn tootin'. Unless the pizza in Syracuse becomes inedible. My grandfather was a sentimental man. He sent me to Syracuse, hoping I would remember my roots. I lived there for a while. People there told me all the time that I fit in, like a Syracusan. But for me, I was just doing what I'd always been doing. The way I lived my life in Colombia was no different than the way I lived in Syracuse. And what I saw in Syracuse was no different from what I saw in Colombia. You might know the story of family Texas like the back of your hand, but I saw it with my own eyes. Life isn't a play where every move is sprinkled with a little heroism or villainy. What happened was just an undignified slaughter. My father bought a counterfeit gun from Blacksteel. When he pulled the trigger, it exploded and did a number on him. My grandfather fell to the ground. My father drew his knife with his injured hand, but the first stab went wide. I heard everything from the doorway. Hoarse curses, groans of pain. Emotion lasted for a long time before it finally ended. In that moment, I was exhausted with everything. So I decided to leave. Are you telling me that Lungmen is your home now? I don't know. Can't say for sure. But I at least know that I have a pretty good time there. You're just like you were back then. Blunt and straight to the point. Looks like I'm the one getting ahead of myself. Here I was thinking you came to ask for my help. Or at least, you'd want to catch up with me. But in the end, you're here to tell me that we can never go back. You know, Selenia, that's awfully heartless of you. I was shocked when I heard you were still alive. But you went ahead and stamped out my hope all over again. I'm sorry, Giovanna. I don't want to be a Syracusan or a Colombian. I just want to be Selena, Texas. This is your last chance. If you walk through those doors, you'll be my enemy. The Rosati's enemy. You'll be in our way. And I, as Donna Rosati, have a responsibility to eliminate everything that stands in our way. Don't make me do this. We're just too sentimental, Giovanna. Man. The most unremarkable Departamento di Sicurezza Alimentare, and its popular but underappreciated Segretario. At this point, men like Karasi, who were propped up to maintain balance between the major families, are no longer needed. What you need is a puppet that is safe and useful. Am I wrong? Signor Segretario, a truly safe and useful puppet would never refer to himself as such. I just happen to be a bit more self-aware than others. Mightily self-aware you are. You're right, Rubio. You are the best candidate to replace Karasi. But if you're willing to be so frank with me, I might as well share something with you. I'm listening. My associates killed Karasi. Got guts, and I like talking with men like you. So I'm willing to give you a chance. Turn around and leave this room. Forget what you just said, and no harm will come to you. Then, go back home and spend some time with your wife and daughter. Savor the last moments of peace in this city. Doesn't that mean you'd need a puppet like me all the more? You're after this chaos. What's happening all around us? You want to overturn the law laid down by Signora Cecilia. But you don't care if she rules. If we go back to the old ways. The conflict among families never had anything to do with us commoners. When something happens, we just wait to see the result. It makes no difference to the commoners whether Signora Cecilia rules, or you do. But the winner will need someone to maintain the facade of order. As the dawn of a family, surely you understand this principle. Isn't it impossible for the commoners to survive without the families? But the same cannot be said for the families without the commoners. You're telling me that you hold the real power? No, I'm just making a self-serving justification for the weak. A good justification at that. But it doesn't tell me what you're really after. Power, Don Bernardo. Since I was a kid, everyone's looked down on me because I'm weak. And I look like, this. The oppression I felt from the people around me was more real than anything the families ever did. I've suffered that my entire life, waiting for this chance. You tell me you're the one who had Karasi killed? All I can think is, thank goodness I came at the right time. You may not want to hear this, but if you're going against Signora Cecilia, it's probably not going to go your way. Who cares? Doesn't matter to me if you win or lose. In the end, but power is something Signora Cecilia can't give me. It's gotta be you. You're an honest man, Rubio. I like making friends with honest men. Bernardo. Give my order. Tell them. That's enough for today. Of course. What just happened? That room over there started shaking? Looks like she chose you. Huh? That earthquake is Giovanna's arts. Sounds like they had a falling out. Look, Texas jumped out the window. Let's go after her. Right. Texas. If, and I mean if, we were friends back then, could I have kept you in Syracuse? That chance, right? We would have just slaughtered each other. Lavinia, don't make me kill you. I've got a job to do. Signorina Lavinia, I pray you aren't born in Syracuse the next time around. Just a second. Who are you? You're one of Saluzzo's hitmen, right? This operation is over. Don Bernardo's orders. Just in. Lavinia, you shouldn't have shown your face here. That's not up to you. You've interfered with the Saluzzo operation. That's gonna ruin the relationship between our two families. So why don't you go beg Alberto's forgiveness with my head on a silver platter? Wait, please, Signor Bernardo. I mean, Don. I have a presumptuous request. I imagine Signor Leontuzzo will be very busy in the future. It'll unrealistic to expect him to help me in the way he did Karasi. I'd like to ask you for a new assistant. The judge here would be a suitable pick. That certainly is one option. What are you two talking about? How impertinent of me. Carrying on this conversation without including the subject. Signorina Lavinia. Don Bernardo has decided that I, Rubio, the humble ex-segretario di Sicurezza Alimentare, shall take Karasi's place as the next Ministro dei Lavori Pubblici. And I have to admit, I'm not too experienced with bureaucratic affairs. So I hope that you, as someone with ample experience, will become my assistant. I wonder how Sora and the others are doing. What? Why are you here? When you get old, you start looking for a place to enjoy the rest of your days. Found her. She's right over there. Surround her. Looks like you insist on getting in my way. She's still worried about you after what happened. As for me, I'm old now, so I spend my days taking care of the youths. It's a hobby. Stay a while and have a chat with Yoder. Next time. Texas, we'll protect you. Sant? Let's have a look-see. Who's all fighting all by herself? Why are you all here? As far as I can tell, the Syracusan families always fight together. It's your culture. And Penguin Logistics culture is... the party hard? In this case, it should be. Don't be afraid to rumble, right? You got it. Seriously though, old man. You think you can let this one slide? A favor from one sancta to another. Get your head on straight, Exia. You do have a point. The rainy season in Syracuse is a long one. It didn't bother me when I was young, but now arthritis is such a hassle. Children, striving for strength is fine, but remember to put your health and safety first. Eh? You're pulling my leg. Thanks a bunch. By the way, if I ever did want to talk with you, how could I find you? You're searching for redemption. I'm afraid there's nothing I can do for you. But if you're searching for order, you will find me everywhere. That's enough. Let's get out of here. Woohoo! Donna, what's the situation? The balloons have retreated. Good work. With Selenia. Gone. Gone? She couldn't kill me, and I couldn't kill her. Let's head back and prepare. The balloons aren't going to let this go. Right. You've won, Leon Tuzo. Your original plan wasn't to win over Wallach, was it? But wasn't that the best option, given the circumstances? Can't deny that. Alright, enough talk. Let's get you in the car. Leon, you still haven't given up, have you? Compared to what Lavinia has been through, this setback is nothing. You're gonna do great things. Maybe one day, you might actually be able to realize your dreams in Syracuse. And when that time comes, you'll be my right-hand man. I don't get along with Lavinia. There's some things better left to her, and others better left for you. You cheeky bastard. You already thinking about that kind of stuff? Dimitri, I'm still angry about what you and my father were plotting. I don't understand why he insists on continuing, even now. But in the end, I'm still a part of this family. Safe landing. Feels great to be back on our own turf. Whew. Syracusans are a pain in the ass. I'm totally wiped. You hanging in there, Sora? Yes, but my dress got a little torn up. Well, shoot. That one's awfully expensive, wasn't it? We'll figure something out. Alrighty, 1 bottle per person. Come on, knock it off with that stone face. Just think of it this way. 3 of us also happen to be on vacation here. Then, what's with the show? Oh, that's, just a way to grow my career. Plus, I thought it might make it, Plus, I thought it might make finding you a little easier. I reckon it sure did, looking the way things turned out. Sure enough. The atmosphere remains chilly for a while, but finally, an unavoidable problem emerges. Where did it go from here? Texas does not have it in her to ask. Texas, I had an agreement with the director. Now that I found you, I will stay here and complete my performance contract. But I've spoken with the director a few times. It's a little scary in retrospect, but I don't think he's the kind of man to hold our lives over you. You have a point. If he wanted to do something like that, he would have locked us up a long time ago. Okay, alright, let's quit the jawing. You keep talking and I keep getting scared and scared. We really are here to see you. If it wasn't so dangerous out there, I'd like you to show us around. Okay. When we're through all of this, I'll give you a tour. Anyways, let's celebrate this Penguin Logistics reunion in Syracuse. Cheers! The biggest thing? An unknown number. I don't remember ever giving out this number. Hello? Who am I speaking with? It seems you are safe and sound, Signorina Sora. That's a relief. You know what happened with Texas, right? Don't worry, Signorina. Your Penguin Logistics friends must be enjoying a joyous reunion. And I certainly don't want to interrupt that. But I was just thinking you might have a lot of questions for me. So, I'll be waiting for you at the theater tomorrow. Right.